Hey, this is Mark, and today I've got what is clearly a liquid damaged USB-C port in a MacBook Pro. This is the A1708. Not really sure what year this is. I don't think that's very important. So this should be pretty straightforward. The complaint is that it works fine if you put in a charged battery, but it just will not charge a battery. And this is really the only liquid damage I can see anywhere on the board. So it's pretty clear that replacing this port should be all we need to do. So to get to the pins that are soldered under the shield, we have to first remove this shield. So I'm just gonna try and do this the same way I do iPhones, where I'm just holding onto the shield, heating the shield up, and once all the solder joints are melted, then the shield should come off while the board drops away. This is a little bit more difficult than with an iPhone because, of course, MacBooks have a lot more ground, a lot more thermal mass. But that came off just fine. Now I'm going to go over all of these pins for the old port with some flux and some leaded solder so that those will require a lower temperature to melt and get that old port off of there. I just want to go over and add some leaded solder to every one of these holes. Now these boards are relatively thick, so I expect that getting the solder out of all of these holes is going to be a pain in the butt. We'll see. I would expect that it will not be super easy. All right. Whoops. Drop that on the cardboard box that's down below me that is there to catch things a drop. All right. So I think it might work best to get this port off if we kind of come off the edge of the desk a little bit and use bottom heat. Basically doing this the same way I took the shield off, just lifting the board up a little bit by the port itself. Once all of those solder joints are melted, it comes right off. Okay. So now we can get a little bit of leaded solder on this end of things too. That's really going to help in getting the solder to come out of there. Now, I don't know that using wick is going to be the most straightforward method. We're going to try it first and see how it goes. All right, that looks like that's going to work pretty good. Not breaking out the solder sucker today. All right, so we got some of them cleared, some of them kind of halfway cleared. What'd you say, bud? Where do you buy the Zora armor? I don't know. Let me finish this one job and I'll come look it up for you. Maxwell needs some Zora armor. Apparently, he needs to swim somewhere in Zelda. Alright, this actually will go much better if I add some flux. Oh, very nice, baby. It never ends with kids. They always need something or want to show you something. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not sure where to get it right now, bud. You can either wait till I'm done here and we'll look, or you can ask your mom. No, I said when I'm done with this work, I can look it up. All right, so some of these holes are really being a pain, and I don't want to sit here and struggle with them a bunch. So I'm thinking maybe we will break out the old solder sucker for some of these, if I can remember where I put it. Where did I put you? I just saw it the other day when I was cleaning up. What would I have done with it? Busy right now, honey. I can't do it. Never ends with wives either. Constantly need you to do something for them. All right. I am not seeing the old solder sucker anywhere. I'm sure that I put it somewhere that would be easy to find and that I would surely not forget. Obviously, I must have put it somewhere. Ah, there we go. There we go. Found it. All right. So we're going to get in here with some hot air. We're going to get in here with the iron. We'll see how well this goes. This is kind of big for these holes, but we'll see. I don't know how well that's going to work. Worth a try, but yeah, that's kind of too big to really get on there. Okay, so back to the wick. Actually, we've gotten enough of those cleared now that I can get this port kind of in place. So I'll be able to just kind of put the new one on the same way I took the old one off, just with some hot air from the bottom, a little bit of pressure from the top, and then I can go back over each pin again. Actually, since I'm going to do it that way, I'll just go ahead and fill all those holes back up. So all the wicking I did was, in a way it was pointless, but really I do want to get that lead-free solder out of there, at least as much of it as I can. I'm going to go ahead and get it off of these pads around the edges too. Because I really want it all to be leaded when I put the new port on, just so that I don't need as much temperature to get everything melted. Okay, so we'll go back over these pads with some leaded. And really, I don't want to fill the holes up from this side very much, so I'm going to try and avoid that as much as I can. Okay, and then we'll flip over, and then from this side, I want to fill up those holes. Not necessarily fill them up, but just add a fair amount of solder. I would prefer to have to add as little as possible once I have the new port actually on there. I'll probably have to come back in and fill in some, but hopefully it's only a couple. Come on. All right, that's pretty good. So we'll flip back over, we'll clean off some of this burned up flux, add just a very small amount of fresh flux. Going to clean this a lot better once the job is done, but I do want to just grab some of this, some of these cotton fibers, get them out of the way. All right, we'll add just a little bit of fresh flux, don't need a ton. Let's see, does that look like that's lined up pretty well? Yeah. All right. How about if we come in, I think some of the ground pads on this are a little spiky and keeping this from sitting the way I want it to. All right. Try this again. All right, got the pins in a little bit at that end. So that should keep things lined up pretty well while I put some pressure down at this end. All right, should all be lined up now. I just got to make sure I got everything melted at the same time. I feel like this right side is probably still sitting a little high. There we go. Now that's in place. Get everything good and melted. All right. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that's all we need to do. So we're good and flush with the board. That looks good. And yeah, all of our joints from this side look good. There's nothing that's really empty. Some are lower, some are higher, but that's fine. So all that's left to do now is see if this thing works after I clean it off. Let's see. I can't remember. Haven't worked on a ton of these, so I can't remember if I should see it boot up or not without having it hooked up, having it in the in the housing with the battery and everything. Oh, I would definitely need to have my MacBook charger plugged in. Okay. All right, well, this is more than we had before. Oh yeah, there we go, 20 volts. So this is definitely booting up. Before, this wasn't even lighting up because there was just too much corrosion and shorting going on in the old connector. So 20 volts is what I wanted to see here. So this one is good to go. All right, that was easy. Thanks for watching.